Journal talked about it, and we are talking about Russia, Ukraine now. So Berlin airlift, one of our most glorious moments in US history. I don't know, did some of you in your growing up here, I obviously didn't grow up here. Did you do this in high school? So did you do this in high school? Darren, did you, people who grew up, did you do the Berlin airlift? No? Yes?
No.
Nick? Jessica, did you do it? Okay, so let's talk about it real briefly. So here we are, major cycle of one of our most glorious episodes, which we don't talk about. Don't ask me why. I don't have answers to so many questions these days. So here we are. Let's use the right colors. So this is Berlin after World War II. So this is East Berlin, and it's in red. So this is taken by the Soviets, and the Russians, the Soviets have taken all this. So this is Germany. This is under the Soviets. So all gone. And so we are talking about the Berlin airlift now. This is the handout, the article that I sent you as a reading, and I told you we'll discuss it. Is all this sounding familiar, folks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so West Germany, so West Berlin was US, UK, France. So we were kind of in West Berlin. And later on, the Berlin Wall was in here. And so this was in 1947, 48, this was a situation. So we had half the city. And Stalin basically said, we want the whole thing. He wants the whole thing. So there were all these roads and highways and canals. Suddenly, remember the whole story of Ludwig Erhard and all that? Remember that?
Yeah.
That was happening in here, okay? The price floors, remember that? Do watch the video. Milton Friedman's in there. Did anybody watch the video?
Yeah.
They don't put a caption, but that meek guy, that's our guy. And I told you, right? I went to approached him to name this, but did I tell you the story? Oh,
No.
I told you? No.
No.
So, I had this brilliant idea many years ago. Milton Friedman's gone now, sadly. And I said, why don't we name one Washington, the business school, the Milton Friedman School of Business. I mean, he's one of ours. We created him, right? He was in College Avenue campus or wherever down below. So the dean said, good job. So brilliant. I said, you know? So we sent a professor to him, he was in Stanford, and said, we're going to name our business school after you. And guess what Milton Friedman said? No. No. Why? Can you guess why? He said, because, ready for this? He said, you charged me too low. You subsidized my tuition while I was at Rutgers. So, in other words, this was Milton Friedman's tuition, zero, and Rutgers basically P. Rutgers. Back in the day, the state was subsidizing. All that's gone now. So we charged him that much. He says, you should have charged me that. Why did you do that? And I told my dean, look, it's very simple. I will calculate to 2 decimal places what he owes us. I will, do discounting and all that and move it forward. So he can write us a check. He'll be happy, pay there, and we'll be happy. And my dean said, Farooq, please stop. So he's already angry. Don't do that. And I said, all right. So then he thought about it and he said, you know what? This is not nice. I might reconsider if he dies. And I went, oh, Yeah, at the goal, man. So that's why this is not the Milton Friedman. And so now it's 16 million. If you have $16 million, I've got my name on the classroom, so I'm done. And I didn't pay anything for that, thank God. So, but 16 million is now the price, but that's how close we came. Anyway, so here we are. So that's what happened, was happening in here. And the Russians said, enough. So they shut down everything. All the roads shut down. And here is a weird, eerily reminiscent story. They got 65% of that power, coal back then, from the Russians. Nothing has changed. Today it's natural gas. So winter is coming. They've cut down everything. Roads are blocked. They're basically, it's a stranglehold. My hero is in charge of our country, Truman. Love the guy. What do? Suddenly, they're cut off. The generals tell President Truman, not President. You know, he's got huge tank armies, 10 times as bigger than anything we have, Stalin. Well, I guess we just let him have the West Berliners. Let him have it, Mr. President. We don't want to start another world war over that. What do you do?
Airlift them supplies.
So basically, what we did, there were 3 air corridors. There's 1, 2, and 3. That's all we were allowed from the West. These were corridors where you could fly planes in, and they were like 15 miles wide. That's it. If you strayed beyond that, you got shot down by the MiGs. And so I think Frankfurt and Tempelhof, and I forget, Stuttgart, I don't know, I forget. And so that was it. Little corridors where planes could fly in. And so the general said, this is a huge city. Coal was the big thing, coal, heat. Winter is coming. There is no way, it's never been done in history. So what did we do? Any guesses? Cycle of 1, what would you do? Should I do my annoying thing with the microphone? Jessica, what would we do?
Not me, not me. I don't know.
What would you do? Here you are, and he's blocked it. The day before, by the way, the West introduced a currency. There's a lot of history. And so the Senate said, that's it. All the roads are blocked.
Like, was there a rail line or something?
What line?
Railway or something?
All the railways are blocked. All the canals are blocked. All the roads are blocked. T-34s, JS2s, big tanks are everywhere. And they have tons of them left over from the war.
You called it an airlift, so did they use airplanes?
So, yes, you're good. Langdana's talking of the Berlin airlift. So obviously there was an airlift. I like your style. What does the t-shirt, the sweater say?
The sack. It's dance and step.
Oh, dancing stuff.
Yeah.
Here I thought you were special forces or something. So, all right, so airlift. So basically Truman said, we gave our word to them, we're going to keep our word. And so the largest supply chain operation in history, which nobody talks about. I don't even understand this. So from here and from here, at one point the article is wrong, by the way, and the operation was called Operation Vittles. Even that is wrong in the article. Who wrote that article? Seriously. So every 30 seconds, not every 45 seconds, every 30 seconds, planes were coming in. Truman said, I've kept my word, we keep our word. We supplied by air. And they said, well, we never really done that. He said, find a way. Find a way. The largest supply chain operation ever. So planes were flying in and flying back out this way. It was only one way. They were coming in every 30 seconds. And if you came in and the runway was blocked, you couldn't circle because they were coming in every 30 seconds. What did you do? You flew back and you started again. And you did 4 or 5 trips a day. And so remember General Clay from our story with Ludwig Erhard? So Clay basically is in the story, and Clay found that the planes were landing, and here is one of them. It's a beauty C-54 Skymaster. Can you see? Propellers turn. Propellers turn. Yeah, all four turn. Can you see? And C-30s, C-47s, DC-3s. So it's there. They were coming in, and so he found that when the planes were landing, the pilots were getting out, and they were going for hot chocolate and cigarettes, and then getting back in. And he said, well, what are you doing? He said, well, they're unloading, coal and powdered coal, powdered milk, powdered eggs, powdered this, powdered that. 30 seconds. And the runways were made of gravel because they were just constructed for this. And there were only women, children, and old men in Berlin. The young guys, they're gone, or in Russian camps. And so there were these women called Tummelfrau. So these are women of the storm, from the tumult, left over from the war. And so they would run out and they would rake the gravel, and 25 seconds later somebody would blow a whistle and they'd run away, and another C-47 would come in. And then they would rush out and straighten the gravel. And so Clay found all these guys were hanging around having hot chocolate. He said, no, you stay in the plane. There'll be a little truck showing up with cigarettes and coffee and hot chocolate. You want to go to the bathroom? Bring a bottle. Bring an empty Coke bottle. You're not getting out of the plane. And so here they were. They would land. Germans would be unloading the stuff. Somebody would show up with coffee, hot chocolate, unload it, turn around, go back. Another flight. And so we kept it alive. And so that's what the article is talking about. After about 15 months, the Soviets said, the hell with this. And so the blockade was lifted. And so the Berlin Airlift, one of our most glorious moments, which we don't talk about. The British joined us, and we lost 155 pilots, by the way. The landing was very hard. I'll send you a clip tonight or tomorrow. The video is terrifying. The planes came in between buildings, between these high-rises. That C-47 would come in. And if you strayed out of these paths, you got shut down. And 45% or 65%, I think, of the stuff, 65% was coal. Same story as today. Tied to Russian coal, Russian gas. Same story today. Nothing has changed. It's so weird. So we kept our word. And so the article is wondering, can we do this to Europe again with liquefied natural gas? Remember we mentioned this in class? And it's very expensive to transport. It has to be liquefied. It's gas in liquid form, so under high pressure and sub-zero. We are doing it. We've ramped up our production. We are doing more production. We maxed it out. We're going to increase production. Can we replace the Russians? No. The Germans, the Europeans will have to go back to fossil fuels, to turn back those nuclear power plants. It's not the end of the world. It will happen. We will go to green eventually. But we were doing that much fossil, and there was that much green. You can't go from there to there overnight. It was a little much. It sounded great, to be honest with you. It was, as an engineer, it never made sense. It was too much, too soon. I love green, but so we may be going back, but that was the story. And in this story, there is a guy called the Candy Bomber. So another cycle of one. So Truman was the first cycle of one. He said, I don't care. We keep our word. You find a way. Do it. 30 seconds. And then comes this guy called Gail Halverson, who is unloading his plane, and he sees a bunch of German kids, and they're just staring at him. He realizes, how come they don't ask for candy? Kids normally ask for candy, because he'd been all over the world in World War II. And he said, do you want some candy, chocolate? And they go, what? They'd never seen them. They are war kids. So he had 2 Wrigley's double mint sticks of gum. which he handed to them. And so the kids shared them. One kid asked for the wrapper and smelt it. And so fast forward, the guy said, "Oh, this is too much. I'll tell you what. I'm coming in tomorrow. I'm going to drop Hershey's bars by parachute." So he made parachutes with a handkerchief and he dropped them. And the kid said, "How will we know it's you? There's a plane's coming every 30 seconds. And he said, "Okay, I will wiggle my wings." So he flew this plane, C-54. He would wiggle the wings. And so he was called Captain Wiggly Wings. And so everybody then, all the other airmen started dropping these parachutes. So as a kid, interestingly, I took a handkerchief and tied one of my toy soldiers to it and threw it from my top floor. You know, I don't know if you guys do that, I didn't. So that's what he did with the Hershey bars. And then word got out and all of America started sending him boxes of handkerchiefs. 9 women sent him marriage proposals. "Oh, you are so kind, I want to marry you." He said, "Oh, I'm a Mormon. Mormons don't do things like that." You know, whatever. And he just died a few weeks ago. He just passed away. To this day, he was doing candy drops in Germany as a memory of what he did. And so that was it. So he is so it was a cycle of one. He did this illegally. So again, Clay, our same guy, poor Clay, you know, he's always calling in people into his office. And so Clay says, you know, his name was Gail Halverson. He said, "Gail, what are you doing out there?" And so Gail is like, "Oh yeah. Did 4 runs, powdered milk, powdered eggs, corn." No, Gail, what are you doing out there? I said, "Oh yeah, powdered milk." No, Gail, I know what you're doing. You're throwing out bags of parachutes to all these kids. He said, "Oh yeah. He said, "You hit a reporter on the head. He took a picture of your tailplane. He got your number. We know it's you." And so Gail goes, "Oh, the kids love it. What do I do?" And Clay said, "I don't care what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing." So it's another cycle of one. And so I'll send you his link. So he was Gail Halverson, and in my office actually, next week maybe help me bring it down. There is a picture. He sent me a picture of himself. Signed, so I have it. Help me bring it. Oh, you got an arm broken. Dan, Nick, you help me next week bring it down. So anyway, here is his plane, C-54. Okay, so that's the story. So now you know in context what we did. So the plan is, can we do it again? So that's another Berlin airlift.
So geopolitically, like after this goes, I mean, US will be much stronger, right? And Biden, it will be like there's a lot
Well,
of.
see, the thing is, you know what? The interesting thing is that NATO again has its mojo. We are again married to NATO. This was a disaster. The relationship was in tatters. We have a chance to be the good guys again, but in the meantime, the Ukrainians are suffering. So that is the number one thing. But geopolitically, there's a chance for all of us to coalesce and be the good guys again. One day at a time. All right, so that's that. So that's my cycle of one story. And I don't know why. It's not taught in schools. Nobody knows about it. There's a memorial in Germany, by the way, to this Berlin airlift and to the candy bomber. But not here.
Have they converted that airfield into a park now?
I'm sorry?
That airfield is now just a park.
Yeah, Tempelhof. It was a Nazi. It was a main base where Adolf Galland and their fighter races, actually, the Me-262s lived there in Tempelhof. And so now it's become a park.
It's really nice.
Oh, so you've been there?
Yeah, I studied Rosenberg, and it's like fascinating how different.
So when you were at Tempelhof, did you hear about the Berlin airlift?
They have like a whole little like memorial sign
Wow.
in English and in German. Yeah, it's really cool.
Excellent, yeah. I've not made it there.
It's a cool.
Do they have a C-54? Do they have the DC-3s? They have the planes?
Yeah, they
Oh
have,
my
they
God.
have one plane. It looks horrible because it's been sitting on the range for years. But it's in like one of the back fields.
But which one is it?
I could find a picture for
Oh my God, yeah, send it to me. It has to be saved. Okay, so that's that. I'll send you some great links tonight. And I'm going to show you one thing and then I'll do question and answers. Oh, okay. Let's do some game theory now. So anybody working for PSEG here?
Oh,
You?
I hate them.
You hate them?
Yeah.
Because the gas bill went up?
I've been dealing so many problems with them lately.
Well, talk to me.
They.
But I know the G.
I'm glad you asked. No, they.
What, the G in PSEG?
No, the E.
Okay, so can I just tell you the G? I know the G really well. The G is one of my people.
Okay.
But so if you want the E, I don't know who's the E. What's wrong with the E?
They estimated my reading, but they charged me as an actual reading. So they said I used like $200 of electricity in 7 days, and they will not like acknowledge if that might be a mistake. So I'm just like fighting with them.
Have you gone above them?
Well, it's kind of hard. I drove to Trenton, the customer service center, and it's shut down. No one will answer my phone calls, so
Okay, you know what?
I might just call
No,
a
no, no.
lawyer.
Email me.
Okay.
I know the guy who is the G,
The G. Okay.
and I'll tell him.
Okay.
It's not very, he told me, I'm the gas in PSEG, and I'm like, that does not sound good. Send it to me. Langdana has connections. Chris, you have a question? All right. Kurno Nashikular. Game theory. Stay with me now. Kurno Nash equilibrium. Have you done this in your micro classes?
What's the first word?
Yes. Did we?
Kurno Nash. So it's two guys. So you've not seen the movie, It's a Beautiful Mind, Wonderful Mind,
Yeah.
right?
Russell Crowe.
Is it Russell Crowe in that?
A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. So Gladiator is also a beautiful mind? That man gets around. All right, okay, whatever. So that's Kurno. Sorry, that was Nash. And he died in a car accident on 206 in Princeton a few years ago. So basically, this is part of game theory. What game theory is very powerful. And you mentioned the sanctions. It's got so many implications. And if it's not done in microeconomics, maybe done, but I like the way I do it. So basically, game theory says it doesn't make too much sense making decisions of price of a product, the volume, the design, the market share in a vacuum. What sense does that make? Because everything's like a global chess game. You need to figure out what the other guys are doing, what your competition is doing. Right? You need to factor that into that final decision. So it can't be in isolation. So game theory basically is a branch of economics that's relatively new, that incorporates the other person's thinking in your optimization decision. Kurno-Nash equilibrium is probably the most famous one. And I'm going to use that, it's all over you. Okay, so I'm going to do a very non-technical explanation. So here we are, this is Fifth Avenue. Here to here. There's a guy here. There's a guy here. Any questions? Those are not explosives, those are hot chocolates. So she's selling hot chocolates, winter. I know. This is hot chocolates. This is Fifth Avenue. And so here is, basically the assumption is, you guys are walking down Fifth Avenue. Typically from midpoint to here, you buy hot chocolate from this guy. And from midpoint to here, you buy hot chocolate from that guy. And so Kurno-Nash equilibrium says, neither party can make can make Any additional moves, price, location, strategy, etc. unilaterally on its own and become better off. So that's the definition, and let me explain to you what's going on here. So an equilibrium takes place when neither party can be better off. It's a very powerful thing. You will use it out there. You will start noticing it everywhere. Mark my words. So they're here, and let's see what's going on. Very simple diagram. The same professor who told me, life, you can't have an open book exam because life is a closed book, right? Professor Amos Katz, so she showed us this one and I fell in love with it. This is not an equilibrium. Can one of these guys be better off by making a move? Can one of these guys grab more market share by making a move?
Yes.
So, Sarah, did you get the document that was passing around? Okay. And so basically, can any of these people, how can it be better? Can this guy move a little bit? From here to here? Let's say this guy moves from here to here. Would this person be better off? Would this person be better off if this guy moves from here to here? So this person moves from here to here, he's going to get all this, or she's going to get all this business, and then she's going to get half of this business, right? So yeah, definitely move closer. Remember, Nash equilibrium means nobody can move anymore on their own and be better off. Can this guy be better off? What will he do? She? Yeah. So she says, the hell with this. I'll move here. And how will the story end? Exactly, Pooja. So finally the story ends when they are both right next to each other. So here you are on Fifth Avenue, and they're right next to each other. That's a Nash equilibrium. And so you're walking all the Fifth Avenue like, where are the hot chocolate guys? Come on, they're all there. Like, why are you guys standing together? Though they won't tell you because it's a Nash equilibrium, because they just figured out. So when you see a CVS drugstore, what's across the road? And then across the road, Rite Aid or whatever. When you see a gas station, British Petroleum, what's across the road? Exxon or one of the weird Russian things that nobody knows, right? There are 3, 4 all around. Eric, when I was at the wall, the Great Wall, and so my people with me, Farooq, we're so thirsty. I said, there's nothing. I said, just keep walking. And we kept walking, and suddenly the 9 of them, all selling beer and orange and cokes and water. And suddenly they're all together. I said, oh my God, this is so beautiful. It's a Nash equilibrium. And my poor wife is sick of this. Every time we come to a traffic light, look, I said, sweetheart, check it out. CVS, Walgreens. I said, oh God, no, please. Okay, we get it. Nash equilibrium. Here we are, suddenly they're all together. And this isn't just locational. It's also, Bristol Myers Squibb is doing research in a certain medicine. Merck is doing research in a certain medicine. They're all the same thing. Somebody decides to make a movie on Lincoln. There are 4 movies on Abraham Lincoln 1 year. Right? Whoop. Suddenly, it's the design. The cars are shaped like swooshes. Mercedes-Benz is like a swoosh sign, it's flowing. Here comes Hyundai. I want to be a swoosh too. And so everyone's in a swoosh. And so even while we go rock, I collect rocks. So my wife and I said, all right, sweetheart, here's the deal. You go that way, and I'll go that way. And we look for our rocks. We collect rocks. So what happens? I'm wandering around thinking, damn it, what does she have? So I'm scooting over, and she's going, looks like yours, you got more there. Next thing you know, we're side by side. It's like, I said, sweetheart, there's nobody there for miles. What are you doing next to me? He said, you are next to me. I said, oh, this is beautiful. Nash equilibrium. And so, very powerful. And so what this means is sanctions. Again, it's a Nash thing. Unless everybody agrees, that's not an equilibrium. Or, here's one, bubbles. So let's say the stock market's in a bubble. So an S&P, SAP bubbles basically look like this. This is one tycoon, another tycoon in, let's say, cryptocurrency. And so basically, in a SAP bubble, that's not a Nash equilibrium, because when you're in a bubble, what can you do definitely to be better off? So there are three tycoons. These three are tycoons on their penthouses holding some stock, some cryptocurrency, whatever, and it's a massive bubble. Can any of them be better off right now?
Sell.
Sell. The guy who sells first sells on top, and I'm done. And so a bubble is a very tenuous, fragile thing, as the name implies. It's about to burst. So bubble is the height of a non-equilibrium, because any of these guys can sell. So as long as they're just hanging in there, like, Nick, it's gonna be better. You're hanging. You're not selling, right, Nick? Hang in there. Anushri, you just fit. Don't be afraid of fear. Hang in there. Hang tight. It's not a bubble. Repeat after me. It's not a bubble.
Oh, I have to?
No. So there you go. And even in the elevator, when we ride in an elevator, here is a view from the top. When we ride up here, with the nuts from the top, these are our heads. We're all crammed together, right? Then you come to this floor or whatever, everybody gets out, but 4 people are left. They are in reverse Nash. Where will they be? They will maximize the distance from each other. Unless you are in an Asian country where nobody moves. You go to India, China, there'll be 4 people still standing in the corner. Come on, hello. Because space is not important back at home, right? You're just used to it. Yeah. And so, and 4 people here, you have reverse Nash. And it happens automatically. Check next time you go, suddenly, you walk in the corners, everybody pulls out the phone like, it's not I want to be as far from you as possible, I'm just checking my phone. So reverse Nash. Same thing with the minimum tax. Janet Yellen has a minimum tax. So basically, we Americans are tired of companies moving headquarters overseas, because Ireland has 22% tax rate, we have 38% or whatever. It's in my book somewhere. And so you could move your headquarters there and save millions. It was called tax inversion. And so Janet Yellen said, new rule. Everybody has to have a minimum tax. So, you can't have 28%. Everybody comes up to 32 or 29 or 31. So America comes from, say, 35 to 31. Ireland comes up to 31. Everybody comes up to 31. Everybody agrees to this. And so there'll be no tax inversion. Nobody's moving headquarters from here to there. Like Chiquita Banana is a Canadian company or an Irish company. No bananas there. Chiquita Banana's headquarters is there. Burger King, they became a Canadian company. Traitors, right? Right? And so, but as soon as I read that, and emails started coming in. Farokh, is this going to work? I says, only will work how? How will the minimum tax only work?
Everyone does it.
If everybody has to agree. The Swiss said, heck with this, we're not playing along. I said, there you go. There you go. Everyone's going to go to Switzerland. Nash. This isn't the Nash equilibrium. As long as everybody plays along, it's fine. But it's by itself right now, it's not in equilibrium. So, thing with sanctions to Russia, everybody has to play along, especially the big partners, because otherwise right now, it's great for public consumption, but it's not a Nash equilibrium. But again, Biden is saying what he has to say. Mom and Pop America couldn't handle that with me. So there you go, that is that. Questions, comments? You will see this everywhere in the way companies think, in the way companies strategize. It's just good, it's a grouping. You know, we better do this. You know, they're doing that kind of research. What if that's the next big thing? We kind of have to be close to that, otherwise we'll miss out. So suddenly you have 4 companies all looking like the same thing. Remember, me and my wife standing next to each other on the shore. CVS gas stations. Right, Eric, on the wall? Am I right? There's nothing, and then 9 people selling beer. You have been to the wall, right?
Say yes.
Are you from mainland China or
Yeah, from mainland China.
Beijing, Shanghai?
Shenzhen,
Oh, but you've been to Beijing.
close to Hong Kong.
Have you been to Beijing?
Yeah.
Okay, so the wall. Okay. How are you folks doing? Any questions? So where is the document? So thank you. Has everybody seen it? So basically, I'm going to now have a question and answer time. I'm going to go over just some ISLM shifts. So those of you who are still rusty with that. But before we do that, Helena, you can come on down for a second. I've got something for you here. So come on down, come on down. So